After 2024, everyone with a passing interest in music most likely knows of the name Doechii. Emerging from Florida and backed by both TDE and Capitol Records, this breakout MC of last year accomplished a lot without even formally releasing a debut album due to the project that made her name being classified as a mixtape. Along the way, she won Grammys and landed one of the year's top-selling songs with her viral hit Anxiety, ranking as the 10th best-selling track of the year. Plus, she got support from some major names in the game like Tyler, the Creator.
I'm so happy she exists. We have to keep supporting her.
And even Kendrick Lamar, who literally said that she was the hardest rapper in the game. With all that going on, you'd think that the sky was the limit for Doechii, but it's not that simple. While her first official major studio record is allegedly around the corner, the problem is that she might have already been written off by some of the audience that was supposed to propel her to greatness. As after such a big year and a few controversial moves, she's encountering a whole lot of hate. The question is, will this kill off her momentum just when it's starting to build? Or will she shut down the doubters and prove that the infamous industry plant label they constantly tag her with couldn't be further from the truth? It's your boy Louaista, and this is why Doechii is suddenly hated. But to understand how she's reached this point where many fans and online figures resent her and the success that she's achieved, we need to go back to where it all began. Now, coming up against a lot of animosity is nothing new for Doechii. In fact, as she recalled during an interview with The Breakfast Club, the entire character was created as an armor.
What's that mean?
Doechii?
Yeah.
Okay, I used to get bullied a lot. I'm gonna rush through it. I used to get bullied a lot, and it was really bad. And so one day I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm gonna die one day, and I wanna die being myself, being happy. So forget all of that other stuff. And then I think early on I was branding myself early and I didn't know it. And I woke up one day and I was like, forget Jayla, I'm Doechii. And then I went to school in a tutu and I started doing music.
At what age was this?
6th grade.
Oh, 6th grade.
Yeah, 6th grade.
Yes.
And I've been Doechii ever since.
From her early years, Doechii always aspired to be something more. And in videos she posted when she was just 16, she made it clear she believed that with enough drive, anyone could manifest the future they dreamed of.
Hi dolls, it's Doechii, and today's video is going to be an encouraging video, and this is going to be 5 reasons why you can do it. I'm not sure why you feel like you can't do something, because you can. Anything's possible. I know it sounds cliche, but it freaking is true.
This is one of the countless videos that chronicle Doechii's early years of developing her persona, all of which contributed to where she's at today. And while many people feel like she emerged from nowhere, considering how much exposure she had in 2024, these windows into her early career prove that this has been a lengthy process. The end result is the Doechii we see today, an alter ego that lives inside the girl from Florida named Jayla, giving her the confidence and edge to thrive in the world of hip-hop.
My alter ego I would describe as the highest form of myself, powerful, confident, fearless swamp girl who's just in her bag and she's on and in a flow. And I think I'm only not being that when I might have moments where I might allow doubt to come in. I might have moments where I wake up and I don't feel as confident. My alter ego is really me at my best.
But make no mistake, this didn't happen overnight. In fact, she had to go through some pretty hard times before achieving the status that she's obtained today. For a while, she didn't even have a place to live while pursuing her dream. That setback came when she traveled to New York for an audition on the reality show The Voice, only for everything to go completely left.
I got an audition with The Voice. That brought me from Georgia to New York.
Okay.
And I didn't make the audition and I didn't have enough money to go back. So
You
I had
didn't
to
make
stay.
it? Like you didn't get there?
I didn't get it. I didn't make it in The Voice.
Okay, what did you perform?
I think I did an original song. They were looking for songwriters.
Oh, okay.
I did an original song. I didn't make the cut and I didn't have enough money to come back.
Okay.
So I had to stay in New York.
Where were you staying though? Like with a friend at a hotel?
Girl, it was kind of like every night I just had to figure it out. So one night I would stay in Jersey with like my mom's friend who she knew, and then I would like get booked at another show. I got booked the day after I did The Voice.
Okay.
So for that night, like after The Voice, I slept at a McDonald's. I kept meeting people along the way and just basically like homeless.
And while people might claim that she's a pawn for record labels today, winning a contest like that would have made that undeniably the case. Along the way, she's faced other stumbling blocks. At one stage, she's even shared the news of her losing her job.
So I got fired today. I don't do this. Either way, I'm gonna be straight.
Yet, instead of dwelling, she planned to hit local studios and ask for internships.
I'm just gonna go to a whole bunch of like studios, ask if they have any internships open, and also just like ask questions. Like I don't fucking know. At this, I have nothing to lose. I literally have nothing to lose. I have no place. I have no job. I have no children. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Who fucking cares? I'm just gonna do it. I'll let you know how that goes.
But this departure from a 9-to-5 in retail turned out to be the push she needed to fully devote herself to music. And soon, she found the book on the street.
And I just started this book. Okay, so it's called The Artist's Way. It's by Julia Cameron, and it's a spiritual path to higher creativity. And I know that sounds like a lot of like hoopla, but it's what it says here is that it's a course in discovering and recovering your creative self.
What she discovered was known as The Artist's Way, a spiritual path to higher creativity, a 1992 self-help book by American author Julia Cameron, a body of work which preaches that the refusal to be creative is self-will and counter to our true nature. Doechii pursued this and began truly grinding in 2019. She started doing coven music sessions, where she dropped new songs and early versions of what would later become her biggest hit. Then came Yucky Blucky Fruitcake from her debut EP, Oh the Places You'll Go, which blew up on TikTok and officially put her on the map. Soon, she signed to TDE in 2021, following a feature on Isaiah Rashad's What You Said, doing so with a whole lot of fanfare from those who had watched her journey. The first female MC to ever grace their roster, Doechii insisted that she understood it was an honor.
How does it feel to be you're the first woman rapper on TDE?
Yeah.
How did that feel? I mean, there's a lot of dope ass rappers on TDE.
It is. It's a lot of pressure, but it's good pressure that I put on myself because it's like such a dope legacy. Like it's TDE. They're like, that's hip hop. Like real rap. That's hip hop.
Soon, she sprung into action with tracks like Persuasive and Crazy, leading to her inclusion in the XXL 2022 freshman class, alongside other upcoming names like Nardo Wick, Sofego, Babyface Ray, Cochise, Big Scar, and more. But what people might not remember is that back when she was an unknown commodity, not everyone was completely sold on her as they are today. In a clip that has been resurfacing as Doechii became a star, Kai Cenat once roasted her on his live stream.
Tried to read me, I'm on chapter D and y'all still on the pretense. How? Back bitch eat.
God damn, bitch, I got 850s on. I ain't gonna lie, she doing her thing right now, but god damn. Shit. You can obviously tell that Nicki heavily inspired her, but she's doing it in her own way. Like her flow is Nicki Minaj, but the way she's delivering it is very, I was on the deep and she came into pretend with a side, with a Nicki Minaj, with a tie, with a tie, with a tip, with a tie, with a tie, no.
But for the most part, the wider world first got acquainted with Doechii on What It Is, Block Boy, a track featuring Kodak Black, which in hindsight, many people didn't realize she was behind, reflected in comments such as this one that stated, "I've been hearing this song everywhere, never looked it up. Never knew it was Doechii." Shortly after that, things continued in the right direction, with Doechii crowned Rising Star at the Billboard Music Awards in 2023.
Thank you guys so much. I just want to thank my team, TDE, SZA, my dancers. This is a special night for me, because I just want to win something. Like, I just want to win. Thank you guys so much for everything. This is the same award that Nicki Minaj won, Lady Gaga won, Janelle Monáe won. So this is a huge, huge stamp.
But initially, this didn't ring any alarm bells. After grinding since 2019, a talented artist was rightfully getting the recognition she deserved. And after the Billboard Awards, she actually predicted her future in an interview where she said that she would want to be at her peak in 5 years. Because whether she truly knew it or not, the project that catapulted her into the mainstream was just around the corner. But for all the success it brought, the newfound fame provided the most amount of scrutiny that she'd ever received in her life. The project that changed everything for Doechii, in both a positive and negative sense, was Alligator Bites Never Heal, a sprawling, genre-hopping mixtape released on TDE, which came together like nothing she had ever made before. Curating it, I went into the intention of context. I felt like it was necessary for me to tell my story in detail, and in many different ways, through many different beats. A record which gave us an in-depth look at Doechii's psyche, it was renowned for its honest lyrics and eclectic production. She even opened up on Denial Is a River, where she called out her label for trying to get her to write TikTok songs. She later explained in a Rolling Stone interview that those lines were being real about the tension, trying to balance the music that she wants to make with what the label expects. To her, the whole project was about figuring that out in real time. The first mixtape released by TDE since J-Rock's Black Friday in 2010, the project got a whole lot of critical praise coming out of the gate, but ultimately it underperformed commercially at first, peaking at number 124 with 11,000 records sold. And immediately, some people got suspicious when they felt like it wasn't keeping with the level of support they saw for the project online. But Doechii's time floating on the edge of the charts was about to end, thanks to a masterclass in marketing. After strategic performances on platforms like Tiny Desk, Genius, and Stephen Colbert elevated her profile and proved that she was a dynamic performer, Doechii also received some of the most valuable cosigns anyone could ask for. To begin with, Kendrick Lamar declared she was the hardest out on one of his rare IG stories, something which she unsurprisingly lost her mind over.
Oh, God.
Kendrick said you the hardest out.
He did.
How'd that make you feel?
That was great. It's Kendrick. I was like, goddamn. He didn't say she hard. He said the hardest out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Period.
Has he given you that validation offline too? Like just
We've actually never met in person. I haven't met him in person yet, but he has given me my props publicly, which is incredible.
That's dope.
And the day I meet him, ciao. It's gonna be a really.
And while she was enthused about his support, she told Joe Budden she didn't believe like she was actually ready to appear on a track alongside him.
Like, your debut is gonna come at some point. You're kicking ass right now. Just from the sound of your shit, sonically, I would expect to hear Kendrick, but I know that's not how things work. Is there an assumption that Kendrick would feature on your debut project because of your style stylistically and because of your close proximity
I'm gonna
and
say
labels?
this. I don't assume anything.
There
And
we
I
go.
also don't feel entitled to a Kendrick feature, but I would absolutely love that. Like, that's the goal. But I'm gonna be real, I don't think I have the record right now for that opportunity. I think I would have to come a certain way, and I don't think I'm ready for it.
Nah,
I love that.
But she didn't take the same approach when she was provided with a seal of approval from Tyler, the Creator, a man she referred to herself as a super fan of. They collabed on Balloon from Tyler's Chromacopia, with the former Odd Future leader also saluting her on her creativity during his latest encounter with Nardwuar.
And you got Doechii on there. Doechii.
Genius. Love her.
Won a Grammy.
She's an alien.
How'd you discover Doechii?
I came across Doechii. So my YouTube recommended, and it was a Catfish record, or it was a Nissan Altima, whatever. It was like short, and I was like, oh, what is this? I was like, damn, this girl pretty as hell. Like, click this, and I clicked it, and I was like blown away, and I just kept going and kept going and kept going. I was like, oh my God, and then I DM'd her like, yeah, I'm gonna need you in a few months or whatever, and then we linked, and like, yeah, she's incredible.
And even though a new star emerging often sparks hostility within that delicate ecosystem of female rap, she even got love from one of the biggest women of the game too in Megan Thee Stallion.
I see Doechii. I love Doechii. I do want to do a song with Doechii. That is on my list. That's on my album wish list.
With that, Doechii had gone from a prospect for the future to a genuine contender for one of the biggest artists of the year. And immediately, this rang alarm bells for some, with the word industry plant suddenly being brought into the discussion around her name for the first time. But she tried to take it in her stride. Once you got any conspiracies around your career, that's just confirmation that I'm going somewhere, and I'm doing something right. When people aren't familiar with the history of an artist these days, they get suspicious. I'm pretty detached emotionally from it because I understand where it's coming from. As for her fans, they got frustrated by the idea that her rise was inorganic, rather than a case of everything finally clicking. Suddenly, an artist who was revered on the underground was now met with controversy after some felt she ascended to the top a little too quickly. And if she was hoping for that to die down, what was to come was only about to make it a whole lot worse. As the news broke that she received a Grammy nomination, Doechii was ecstatic, even if she acknowledged that her label mate Schoolboy Q had been snubbed.
Who you know getting nominated off the mixtape? How does it feel right now?
It feels incredible. Honestly, I'm having sort of a deja vu. I feel like I've been here before. I feel like I've received this before, so I feel aligned.
I was so happy for you, but so disappointed for my guy Schoolboy Q that Blue Lips wasn't on there. Like, do you think that should have been nominated at some point?
100%. I think that Q definitely, the quality of his project, he deserved that spot as well. And I think that we both have very strong projects.
And as we know by now, she not only got the nod from the Academy, but received the award as well. For context, Doechii's mixtape became only the second ever to win a Grammy, and she's now the only woman besides Cardi B to win Best Rap Album, beating out legends like Nicki Minaj, J. Cole, Travis Scott, and Snoop Dogg, who've never done it. But for a moment, none of that mattered, with her fans rejoicing over how far she'd come from those old clips of her journey to now. As someone who is struggling as an artist right now, it's really refreshing and comforting to see her old videos still up on YouTube. Most artists or labels would have had those videos taken offline, and you don't get to see the years and years of struggle prior to their breakthrough moment. But all of this praise came at a price, as when she followed up the Grammy win by being crowned Billboard Woman of the Year, her detractors were convinced something was going on. This meant that what was supposed to be a celebratory moment had Doechii using her speech to combat the industry plant allegations.
And I want everybody to hear me clearly when I say that it is not a button, it is our brains. It is not a machine, it is our leadership. It is not a conspiracy, it is our vulnerability. And it is not an agenda, it's God. And while I may be the one front and center who's rapping and singing and performing, I am not doing this alone. There are brilliant, savvy women on my personal and label team standing alongside me.
But not everyone was convinced, and soon, even high-profile individuals in the game were about to let her know that they weren't buying what she was selling. Most notably, Kanye West.
Who is Doechii? Is how you say her name, Doechii? That's an industry plant. That's what I'm saying, because as soon as Doechii...
Alongside Ye's skepticism, the always controversial Azealia Banks then got involved. Back in the day, these two actually seemed to be on good terms, with Doechii even trying to tap Azealia for a remix of Crazy after its release. But once Doechii obtained her global fame, Azealia wasn't having it, claiming that all of the fame she received was part of a larger agenda that had nothing to do with music. After a fan asked her to agree that Doechii is one of the hardest rappers out, Azealia went off. Absolutely not. Everybody has convinced themselves she's good because she's dark-skinned. And if you tell the truth and admit she's boring, you're automatically a colorist or whatever. Honestly, all these sympathy accolades she's getting could have gone to Asian Doll. But rather than back down, Doechii flamed her, pointing out the many ways in which she triumphed where Banks had fallen down. Your brain is fried from meds. You're damn near immobile from the shots. Don't hurt yourself. You gossip about black artists to stay relevant, and it's sad. You definitely are an issue. You're only one post away from the psych ward. Stop it. Your diagnosis is wasted talent. I bowed down, kissed the ring, but Jamie, I hate to do you like this, but you're not finna bully me out my lane. I've done in 2 years of signing what you couldn't do in your career. Yet, while Doechii was more than within her rights to defend herself in this situation, there were other incidents and controversies which helped to warp the public opinion of her in some fans' eyes, which also could have been entirely avoidable. For one, there was this comment about straight men during an episode of Truth or Dab, which had the internet in an uproar.
What's my biggest dating red flag? This is a huge red flag for me. All right. You know what's so crazy? I was gonna say men. I mean, strike one. You're a man. Yeah. And you're heterosexual. Yeah.
Naturally, many people feel like the public overreacted over what was likely a playful jibe. However, others suggested that based on footage of her with men from the past, it was her own decision making that questionable. But noted Doechii supporter Joe Budden claims that the issue he had with the situation ultimately came down to it being a poor business move. Because whether Doechii likes it or not, men are ultimately still a powerful demographic in hip hop, and thus it was a misfire.
If Doechii is fluid, which she is, to my knowledge, she don't date straight men. So if you're asking somebody what is a red flag in the people that you date, and you respond with people that you don't date, then what is the point of that other than to be divisive and to offend? Mark and people speak a lot about representation and how it's important to be represented in certain spaces. So when we have Doechii up here and when we see Doechii getting these awards and when we see her winning, like, straight black men feel represented also. They can identify with that. There's no reason to pinpoint anybody who not only you're representing, but who's carrying the baton for you.
So you feel
and
like,
say, red flag, danger.
Then there were the issues arising from her apparent diva tendencies. During her first appearance at the worldwide phenomenon that is the Met Gala, backstage footage revealed that Doechii was going off on her team for not assisting her getting ready in the way that she saw fit.
Give me another, no, stop. Give me another umbrella, now. Another one, right there, and another, whoa. I need another one.
Another umbrella. Excuse me.
Let's try to see the umbrella. Anybody, right there. Hold the umbrella, there, and do not let that. I will not.
Immediately, this was cause for a whole lot of online discourse, with fans feeling away about how she spoke to them. People excusing this just because she was stressed are failing to notice that the workers are also probably stressed as fuck, doing all that just to show up looking like a member of the Jackson 5. With this incident showing her in a new, unflattering light to even those who support her, Doechii tried to downplay the whole thing. However, she notably never apologized. And for a lot of people, this attempt to make light of it only worsened things. As if this wasn't already enough to contend with, the next barrier she encountered on her quest to mainstream appearance came in the form of accusations of plagiarism. Recently, a guest appearance on K-pop star Jennie's track Extra led to claims that she was jacking Nicki Minaj's flow. Although she has always acknowledged that the leader of the Barbs was essentially the reason she wanted to pick up the mic in the first place.
I wrote my first song when I was in the 6th grade. I knew this girl who was a huge Nicki Minaj fan, and at this time I was really Christian and I believed that Nicki Minaj was a part of the Illuminati. I was really against her, but she put me on to Nicki Minaj and I was immediately hooked and wanted to start a group. I wanted to rap, so I wrote my first song and we did it at a talent show and we won.
In truth, some fans believed that she was using those influences to define her own wave, but others weren't exactly sold. Inspiration versus copying on every song is not the same thing. You're absolutely right. Doechii said that Nicki Minaj is the reason where she started rapping, but there's a big difference between inspiration and imitation. Doechii blatantly copies Nicki and has no originality whatsoever. And sure enough, this accusation occurred again after her appearance on The Weeknd's remix for Timeless.
Timeless remix The Weeknd? What the f? Oh yeah, she an industry plan 100%. And it's on The Weeknd's official page. This confirms she's 100% a plan. Biting the f out of Nicki Minaj delivery and flow too.
Speaking of which, this was another move that has likely contributed to the Doechii hate train, and it's steadily increasing momentum as of late. For one thing, it wasn't good for the optics surrounding industry plant allegations to have been shoehorned into a track with 2 big artists after the fact.
There's so many places and areas in music you can go where you don't know about Doechii's presence. But it was aggressive in this instance, in this context, because she's now attached to a song that I don't know how far Timeless ended up going. My whole point is, not only is it on The Weeknd, it's with Playboi Carti. This is not like they asked me to be on the song. This is how the f did you, like, Polar Bear in Atlanta type shit again?
Beyond that, the feature just didn't feel organic. Instead, it came off as something approved by label committees and not the artists themselves.
When you have this much visibility and then you throw yourself into the public eye to this extent, attached to 2 megastars, now your visibility is like where it was before, now it's at 100 million. Industry plant allegations are gonna go more insane now. I think it would just be fine if she dropped another single by herself, which to me, like, it just makes the most sense.
Some fans also felt that her team didn't know who they were targeting, and that her collab choices made things even worse. Of all the Weeknd songs to remix, they picked the one with Cardi. Her vibe fits more with Doja, Tyler, or Kendrick. Not Future or Thug, this just felt forced and aimed at the wrong crowd. All in all, it feeds into the idea that TDE is desperate to crown a new superstar to fit the void left by Kendrick Lamar. And now, people feel like Doechii is being forced onto the public. So much so that it's causing a wave of backlash. But if there's one move that really fueled the hate that Doechii's facing right now, it's the release of her song Anxiety. Originally from her Coven sessions, this track samples Gautier and Kimbra's Somebody That I Used to Know, and wasn't even cleared for official release at first. After her fans rediscovered it, the song was greenlit and eventually peaked at number 9 on the charts. With the track being literally everywhere, it should have been a moment of celebration, but instead, it exposed her to more hatred than ever before, leading some people such as Kai Cenat to crash out over how unreasonable they believed it to be.
Y'all don't like Doechii? Or y'all don't like the song? Or y'all don't like both? Like, I'm trying to understand. Not because he's chopped, bro. Not because he's chopped, bro. It said she's chopped, bro. What are you even saying? Oh, because she's chopped? What the f are you saying? She's not even, like, what?
Meanwhile, other streamers like XQC fully leaned into the disgust which she was getting these days.
I don't like her music. It's the problem. I mean, I'm sure she's a good person. I'm sure she does good stuff. I think it's fucking dog shit.
But it's fair to say that no one went harder than Aiden Ross, who had been sitting on a mounting dislike of her until eventually exploding.
Everyone, oh, Doechii rant? Oh, dude, don't get me started on that bitch. Don't get me started on that industry plant. You guys can say shit whatever you want about me, but one thing about me is I'm not an industry plant. I've been streaming for like a long time now. Doechii, the umbrella clip pissed me off. What an entitled, unintelligent piece of shit she is, bro. Stop listening to her music. Cardi and Abel, why would you give her a feature on a remix? You shouldn't have cleared it. She's just the worst. She's a piece of shit. She stole someone that I used to know. She makes no good music. She's horrible. She has zero talent.
And in this instance, things clearly got out of hand for TDE. With Doechii clapping back on Instagram, and Punch clapping back at Aiden to let him know that he shouldn't be saying things recklessly unless he was willing to suffer for it. These internet guys are really going far. It's the difference between entertainment and being disrespectful. I understand it's certain people's brands to say things they say, but it's going to go somewhere else. Eventually, everyone will see each other. No threats, let's just keep it cool and respectful. And now, after aiming at someone that the industry reveres, Aiden claims he has faced the consequences of his actions through his pockets.
Oh my God, I'm so mad at my PR was finally getting better. I had 2 deals lined up. You lost both my deals, on God.
They f***ed up DDG shit yesterday, didn't they?
Yes, bro. They f***ed up my shit, his shit. Like, I had an ad deal too I was gonna do. Like, it's not even about the money. It's just because, like, I wanted to do it. Cause it's like, damn, it was a big ad it was a big deal. So it's like, but yeah, bro. I mean, that's just the way it is, bro. That's the reality of how the world works. I mean, you know how it is, bro.
Yo, I think Kai is the only streamer clean enough to, like, really be aligned with brand.
Then there's the concerns brought up by those who actually support Doechii. As while the song may not be everyone's taste, its success may cause an obstacle in itself. Because if she's not careful, it might leave her pigeonholed in this lane by audiences, or her label might pressure her to continue in this lane.
I do have at least a few concerns about Doechii's career and this song moving forward from here, because the track is getting so popular and gaining so much viral spread, and clearly her and the label are leaning into that with the release of this latest music video. But yeah, I'm kind of afraid of 2 things. Doechii has so much potential from here, and she's still gaining exposure and new fans, and I'm afraid that the hate behind this track, which, I mean, it's very loud and very annoying, there are people who are going to be turned off to her and her music entirely from here forward just because of this one fucking song.
Despite the fact that she's technically at the peak of her career to date, Doechii's next moves need to be carried out with extreme care and caution, because while she is the most streamed rapper in the world today, bar none, that crazy upswing in exposure has not only led to allegations that her success was engineered, but proved that in some ways, she wasn't prepared for the spotlight that comes with having a mic in your face and everyone watching your every move. But one thing is undeniable, and that's no matter what anyone says, Doechii really got it out the mud. Sure, you can argue that the label's pushing the button on her right now, but acting like she was made in a lab completely ignores the grind that got her here. Her journey played out in real time, right in front of us. For anyone who actually followed her come up, the idea that she's an industry plant just doesn't hold up. She documented her growth every step of the way, and people have been rooting for her long before the mainstream caught on. Whether you like her or not, that talking point just doesn't stick. Now facing a make or break project, it's time for Doechii to step up and become undeniable. Otherwise, people are always gonna wonder if the marketing campaign of 2024 is what truly birthed her rise from underground spitter to mainstream contender.